From the UK, that's great. I know I'm a little bit later than usual. Usually I come on at about noon Eastern time. And we are going a little bit later of a live. Yeah, that's great. Joel, I see your question here. That one mummy says also from the UK. That's great. Joel says, are there any symptoms of autism? Okay, good question. What are the symptoms of autism? Absolutely. In fact, that's how it's evaluated, is by looking at the symptoms. There's no blood test. Hello, universe. Good to see you. Hey, Lou. Good to see everybody. Be tapping that screen. Let's get more people in here. The likes. Tell TikTok to send it out to people. So tap on that screen if you can. The heart me's at the top also help send it out. Hey, Melissa. Happy Wednesday to you, too. Happy Wednesday to you, too. But to answer your question, absolutely, there are symptoms of autism. Usually, so they do an evaluation at 18 months and 24 months, pediatricians do. And they determine that it's called the MCHAT, MCHAT. And there's a whole lot of questions about some of the early symptoms of autism. A lot of those are like responding to the name, not pointing at things, lack of communication, repetitive behaviors like flapping the hands, things like that. Okay, Joel, that's okay. Sometimes I just call people what their username is. Don't take offense to it. So come on in, everybody. We are just barely getting started here. I want to touch on something as we get started. I've recently learned that last week the FDA quietly removed a page on their website about autism. Have you guys heard about this? The FDA removed and quietly removed a page on their website about autism. This page mentioned unproven or risky approaches to treating autism. So it was a warning page about what not to do for your child and what does the evidence say not to do. And they took this down. Some of the things that they, and I'm talking about this because I think it is important that we call out some of the treatments that cost too much money, are not evidence-based, and potentially could be harmful. Let's see here. So some of those harmful treatments include chelation therapies. Chelation therapy falls under the assumption that autism comes due to heavy metal toxins in the blood, leaked out from the gut into the blood, getting to the brain. And so they do chelation therapies. I have a TikTok all about it that I just posted today. The other is hyperbaric oxygen therapy, not supported by autism treatment. Science. Chlorine dioxide or miracle mineral supplements, which is a bleaching agent, sometimes ingested by people believing it treats autism. FDA warned this is toxic and life-threatening. Raw camel milk. This is marketed as therapeutic, but is risky due to foodborne illness and no proven benefit. Detoxifying clay baths, similar to detox products. This is it's promoted online, no scientific basis. It can be expensive, time-consuming, and there can be safety concerns. And then other essential oils and natural products marketed with implicit claims about autism symptom improvement. These are things, if you're just coming in, these are things that the FDA used to warn against. But last week, that page on their website disappeared. And so I am talking about this because it's important to me that we don't forget about some of these treatments that are less effective, that are harmful, and that we are not, us autism parents are vulnerable to predatory marketing. We are emotional. We want what's best for our kids, and we can fall victim to predatory marketing. All right, you guys, that's enough for some of the news, just starting out today. If you are new here, let me introduce you to this channel. My name is Kylan. I go live every single day for about 2 hours. Usually I go live a little bit earlier in the day, around noon Eastern time. But I'm a little bit later today. My wife had a doctor appointment, so I was at home with the kids, and this afternoon I'm able to go and do the live. So a little bit about me and my background. I have a 3.5-year-old son with autism. I have a 1.5-year-old daughter who just last week was diagnosed with autism. On top of that, I've been a board-certified behavior analyst working with people with autism and have experience dating back to about 2013. And since then, I created a study tool called ABA Wizard, which helps those preparing to be a BCBA become board certified. It helps them pass the exam and prepare for the exam. And about 80% of current BCBAs used my product to pass the exam. Currently, I am the CEO of a company in Utah. We provide autism services to people throughout the state. And since I am a parent of a child with autism, I understand how hard this is. I understand the realities of dealing with this every day and supporting people. I also understand the beauty of autism and the autistic brain. And I have a strong love for autism. And so I am here to advocate, but also I'm here because I need a village. So let's go through some questions, you guys. I make money on autism. Nope, I lose a lot of money on autism. I lose a lot of money. I have put a lot of money into things, and I'm not a big private equity, backer of selling autism products. In fact, on my channel here, I'm reached out to on a daily basis by people trying to sell detox products and vitamins and supplements, and I refuse to engage with anyone. And so that just by the way, that's a little bit of I hope you don't really believe I'm a guy who just profits off of autism. I'm a guy who is extremely passionate, and I advocate daily. I'm at the Capitol all the time, and my whole life is helping people with autism. Products for kids with autism are massively overpriced because we need them so much for our kids. Yeah, and because we're so desperate. I mean, we will do anything for our children. And so if we get any sense that it could help our kid, we are vulnerable to being taken advantage of and being marketed to. And so, Daniela, I appreciate it. Thank you for your support. Kylan is here helping us, and you come here to judge. Wow. Daniela, thank you for the support. I come here because I need the support. I need the love. I guess you're right. I've made money on here. I get probably 10 cents every single time I go live from all the gifts I get. The robust amount of gifts, you guys. So I guess my views are stolen, and you can't trust me. I'm bought, you guys. What do I think of vaccines? Okay, guys, I don't know if you saw this. The new Surgeon General was just asked about vaccines today, I believe. I saw it today. And she refused to answer if she would recommend vaccines to people. She said she believes vaccines are good, but went roundabout and refused to answer if she would recommend it to people. I love vaccines. I understand people's fear and risk of vaccines. What I don't understand is the link between autism and vaccines. There is no link. There is no link between vaccines and autism. I'm scared how to live with autism. How do you handle your day-to-day? Lucy, what a great question. I am not diagnosed with autism myself, but I have 2 children diagnosed with autism, and I interact with people with autism and care for people with autism on a daily basis, and I love people with autism. And so I want you to know, like, the very first thing is it's okay to feel overwhelmed, and I hope you can know that autism quite often means that the world is very loud, and it's okay to not be okay sometimes, and you may need accommodations. Autism is not a trend. Autism is not something that you can just self-diagnose. Autism is a disability, and it's a disability with high sensory needs, where the world is so loud, peace and quiet can't even reach you in sleep sometimes. There's studies to suggest that people with autism have a hard time entering deep sleep because of the sensory overload. And so please look out for Accommodations. This is a true disability. Can autism people have children? Absolutely. Yeah, that happens all the time. In fact, when I work with people that have autism, we actually support teens and adults quite often, and we help them be able to learn to have meaningful relationships, how to date. It's an important thing. It's an important part of people's lives, and so absolutely. AB says it's not a disability. Autism is a disability in the clinical sense and in the medical sense of the word. And saying it's not actually does harm. It does more harm. Now, you can say it's a disability, but you can also say it's beautiful. The way that autistic brains think can be amazing. It can be beneficial. There can be power to it. You can recognize both the good and the challenges and the support that people with autism need. David says, I use mine as more of a power. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I hope people don't get offended by calling it a disability. I mean, that's not at all what the intention is. It's simply there because the moment you start saying it's not a disability, that means the workplace doesn't need to accommodate it. Suddenly your headphones go away. Suddenly your breaks that you need and time to process goes away. And I refuse to do that because I love people too much with it and know the supports that are needed. Karabechu says, is folinic acid good for autism? Okay, have you guys heard about folinic acid? Have you guys heard about this? So I am optimistic. I am excited about folinic acid. But I will say, I don't believe the research is there yet. It is not widely recommended for everybody with autism. So folinic acid, otherwise known as leucovorin, was has been around for a while. It's been tested, but there have only been 5 randomized clinical trials that have been published. And the major one, the one that was cited in the press conference recently, that study was retracted due to errors in the data. And so there are still questions with leucovorin. There's questions on dosing. There's questions on side effects. There's questions on how much it actually helps and who it helps the most. But there is strong theory behind it and some promising data. And so I am very excited about the prospect of leucovorin. You're not bad if you're trying it with your kid. I mean, I would recommend, I would consider trying it with my kid if we could be part of a clinical trial so that I know it's actually being, beneficial and helping the general cause. But there's just so much we don't know and a lot of mixed data with it that for my children, we have decided not to try it yet. Is this live or pre-recorded? Hanita, this is live. I am live. I am live right now. TB says, any advice to help my son sleep better? Oh, I have so much advice. Okay, if you are here and you have a child diagnosed with autism or suspected autism, put sleep in the chat if your child has a hard time sleeping. I want to see, is this a common thing people are seeing? Stitch, hello. I've missed you on my lives. My daughter's appointment, she got diagnosed with autism. So thank you for following up, Stitch. If people said that sleep, so many people. Oh my goodness, this is a lot. This is a lot. Okay, so sleep is so important. So much happens when you sleep. It is hard to learn. It's hard to progress. It's hard to grow physically and develop mentally when you don't sleep. And so, absolutely, you need to ensure your kids are sleeping. But how? How do you do it when your kid is up throughout the night? How do you do it when they can't fall asleep? My son, he would be in bed and stay in his room and finally fall asleep around 12 or 1 a.m. And we'd put him down at 8 every day. And we'd try to get him up around the same time of day. And it wasn't until we implemented melatonin after consulting the pediatrician that really it helped. Here's my general recommendation of sleep. And for those just coming in, I'm a board-certified behavior analyst. I'm a parent of children with autism. I have 2 children now. One was diagnosed this week or last week. But this is not clinical advice. Let me just say, though, that one thing that I work on with people is building in good sleep routines. And so, even before you worry about therapy and worry about all these other things, sleep is kind of a prerequisite to a lot of this. And so what I do is I recommend, a good bedtime routine, take a bath, get into pajamas, read a book. But then I also recommend a light to signal when it's bedtime and a light that changes colors to say when it's morning. And so we use the hatch light. And this is amazing. This is what I use. People ask about this sometimes, so I did link it in my bio. In theory, my Amazon list, I've heard, is supposed to do commissions and stuff like that. So I don't know if that works or if that's a thing. I think I'm supposed to say that it does, but I don't think I set it up right. But I still linked it because it's important to me that people see the good things that could help. You don't have to use this one. You can use anything that you can signal on a time and schedule when it's sleep time and when it's awake time. And what you're going to do is red. When the light turns red, that means it's bedtime. When the light turns green, that means it's awake time. And so you can practice this during the day. It's kind of like a red, like stop and go game with the kid. Is when it's red, you make him go get in bed. When it's green, you make you say, wake up, let's get out. You can play it like a game. And then at night, you can reference the color of the light to remind them to go to bed. And then consult with doctors about medications. Please don't have shame. If you're willing to share this, I want to normalize this a little bit. There's shame in parents sometimes in medicating their kids for sleep. If your kids take any supplements, including melatonin, or medications for sleep, put yes in the chat. I want to normalize this a little bit. I think it's more common than people realize. Obviously, you got to consult with your doctor. But let's see how it's looking. Look at this, you guys. Look at this. Some people say no, and that's okay. That's okay. You can say no in the chat too if you don't. But I think it's important to realize that there's no shame in this. There's no shame. Your kids need sleep. And obviously, if you don't need sleep or if you don't need medications for it, don't take it. Yeah. Blackout curtains. That's another one. Okay. So please don't feel shame. You'll see comments like this, like what Corinne said, melatonin is bad. What's worse is no sleep. And there's risks with anything you take, but honestly, there a lot of these sleep supplements and medications that you can take for sleep. The benefits of sleep far outweigh the concerns, but consult with your doctor on it. Don't consult people on TikTok about what medications your kid can take. Lucky says no screen time before bed helps too. Yes, that can help. And for some of our kids, my kid, we still do we're in a routine where we put on lullabies on his iPad and he doesn't touch it. We put it up high and there's lullabies on there while he falls asleep. We have the light and everything. He stays in bed, and after about 30 minutes, he's fast asleep. So, all right, you guys, let's keep looking at some questions. Vitamin for focus, is it worth it? Okay, I don't know exactly which vitamin you're talking about, and there are real vitamins that can help people with lots of things. I'm not saying vitamins are bad. I will say that the autism community is oversold on supplements. That's all I'm going to say. So really, if you are learning about a supplement from someone who is trying to sell you a supplement, that source is biased. AI or no? No, I am not AI, but I appreciate you thinking that I am. Is it my blurred background or just my incredible good looks? Must be that. What about heavy metal detox? Steffi, that is a wonderful question. So heavy metal detox. Let me tell you a little bit about why people talk about heavy metal detox. There was a theory, this is an old theory, back in the 90s, that autism was caused due to heavy metals. This theory, this is where the vaccine stuff stems from as well, is all the mercury and heavy metals in the vaccines are causing autism. And it's also, they talk about the gut, about how there's a leaky gut. And for kids with autism, the gut is leaking into the bloodstream and it's not allowing your body to detox, and it's causing autism in the brain. Unfortunately, unfortunately, or fortunately, that has not been backed up by the science. That has not. That has in no way been shown to be true. Your body has natural ways of detoxing from heavy metals. You could take heavy metal poisoning is a real thing. Lead poisoning is terrifying. Heavy metal poisoning can be detrimental for a child. But you could take every single vaccine on the market all at once and not experience heavy metal poisoning. Now, I'm not saying that to do that. There's a schedule for a reason. I'm not a doctor. I can't talk about vaccines like that. What I can say, though, is vaccines do not cause autism. Heavy metals do not cause autism. And you detoxing from them can be really harmful and costly and time-consuming and effortful. So if you look at the people who are promoting these diets and the detoxing, look at what is in their bio. Look at what is in their bio. Every single person who talks about detoxing is trying to sell you a test to see where your levels are at. They're trying to sell you these supplements that are not regulated. They're trying to sell you things, and you are being sold to because us autism parents are extremely vulnerable to this type of selling. So please don't put this on you. Don't try to figure out all the detoxing stuff. Diet is good. Like we want to help our kids with a healthy diet for sure, as much as we can. But it's not about ridding your body of the heavy metals. Blissful for Life says, how do I unmask? This is hard, you guys. There's a lot of adults with autism who were not diagnosed as a kid and who have lived their whole life forced to mask to fit into society. And the important thing to realize is that you may feel like everyone's looking at you. You may feel like you are on a stage where everyone's watching you perform a play and you don't have your lines, or you are saying things you shouldn't, or not saying things you should, or masking when you shouldn't, or not masking when you should. And that is part of autism. It's, that feeling of not having a script performing in a play. And I just want to challenge your belief system of, it's okay to not have it figured out, and it's okay to be yourself, and it's okay to let other people judge you. Shai says, how do you feel about ABA? ABA is one of the 4 frontline therapies for autism. I talk about 4 frontline therapies for autism, which health insurance pays for. If it was fraudulent, if it was, some scam or a conspiracy, insurance would have already proven it to be false so that they didn't have to pay for it. Okay? There is so much evidence that legislators have required that insurance companies pay for it. And so what are these therapies that we talk about? ABA therapy is probably the most highly funded therapy for people with autism. There are sometimes insurance will pay up to 40 hours per week of the skill building therapy where someone works with your child one-on-one. The other 3 therapies that come up quite often is occupational therapy. They help with sensory needs and other life skills. Speech therapy, they work on communication, and mental health therapy for those who can communicate well. And those 4, if you have good clinicians and ethical clinicians, are shown to support people with autism. It doesn't reverse autism. You guys, you cannot reverse autism. That is harmful language because it makes it sound like autism is something that came onto you like a disease later in your life. That's just not a thing. Daniela says, my son goes to speech therapy, but they don't seem to help. They seem to observe more than anything. Daniela, you may need a new speech therapist, or you may need to talk to them and try to understand a little bit more about what they do. One of the downsides of the other 3 therapies, speech, OT, and mental health, is that you are limited to only 1 hour a week usually with these therapies. Some plans, like I think my health insurance plan, only allows 20 sessions of speech per year. And so the funding, unfortunately, doesn't allow it to be as immersive. A lot of that, you should be attending these and trying to learn so that you can be implementing things as well. Jack says, this is incredibly informational. What do you do as a job? That's a good question. So I am an autism parent. I got 2 kids with autism. I am also a board-certified behavior analyst. I work in ABA therapy. I've been working with people with autism since 2013. Currently, I'm the CEO of a company that provides services to people with autism in Utah. But I don't come on here to talk about that. I come on here as a parent. And because I have a passion. I am on here because I am seeing more and more that people with disabilities are under attack in the world, that services are being dropped, that misinformation is going around, and real harm is being done to this community. And so I need a village. I need support. I need people to talk to about this. And so I started doing these lives a few weeks ago. And to me, it's important to build this community, to build a village who is willing to, be rational about how we think about supporting people with autism, and supporting parents of people with autism. Because, man, this is hard. You'll see in my channel, I've posted a few times of breakdowns I've had. I try to act tough sometimes. I try to act like I know what I'm doing. But, man, it's hard. It's hard. Melissa says having this community on here has been incredible. Melissa, oh, thank you. That means the world to me. And you guys, it's not just this live. So I do have a YouTube. I'm live streaming on YouTube as well. So I just barely made that, and I have like 50 subscribers on there. If you want to do me a favor and follow and subscribe on YouTube, that'd be amazing. Link is in my bio. But really, I want to build this community to where it's not just restricted to the 2 hours per day that I go live. I go live every day for 2 hours. But I don't want to restrict it just to those 2 hours. And so we have a Discord. The link to that is in my bio, which is like a group chat. If you do Discord, that's great. If you don't and you have Facebook, yesterday was our first day doing a Facebook group. And so there's a few members in there. It's been really active. I've been blown away with the Facebook group. Join the link in my bio to Facebook. Do that right now, you guys. Been wanting to buy sensory items for my daughter, but everything is so much. Yeah. There's a lot of really good toys out there. Really good toys. What do your kids use? If you're a parent of a child with autism, what are your kids' favorite sensory toys? Not the gimmicky ones, not the ones that stay in their toy chest, but the ones that they actually play with. I'll tell you the one that we use all the time. This is a more expensive one. This is one that if they wanted to sponsor me, I would sponsor them in a heartbeat. Okay, but they don't. But it's Jungle Jumperoo. Have you guys seen these? The Jungle Jumperoo. I love the Jungle Jumperoo. I put them in. We have clinics all over Utah for autism support, and I put them in all of my clinics. I have one at my house. It doesn't take up much room. It's like an inflatable tire with bars going up high, and so they can hold the bars like a jungle gym, but then it's like a trampoline that they jump on. It's safe. It's small. It's contained. It's just a little expensive. And so we had to save up and invest in that. But my kids with autism love it. Love it. But I'm seeing a lot of good things. Busy boards, wiggle worms. Let's see. 3D printed a fidget. That's great. Yeah. Stacking toys. Oh, yeah. Trampoline. That's great. That's great. We've been thinking of doing a trampoline in our backyard, you guys. That's just also a big investment. I don't trust my kids enough with it being above ground. And so we'd have to do it in ground and do an outdoor trampoline in our backyard. But, man, that's expensive. That's expensive, you guys, to put in an in-ground trampoline. But I think it might be worth it. Saren says trampoline is huge help for kids. Yeah, I should just do it. Can you show a picture of the Jumperoo? I don't know how, honestly. I should try to figure that out. Someday I'll figure that out and show it. But it's Jungle Jump Aroo. Let's see. Vanessa says they have the above ground ones with a net around them. Yeah, they do. They do. Maybe that would work. Maybe it would work. How is any trampoline expensive? Well, Brock, you may have more money than me, but they can be expensive. For in ground, you're talking probably $3,000 or $4,000 to put in an in ground trampoline, to have the hole dug out and to have one expertly put in. But yeah, one that's above ground is just a few $100s. I wish I could buy mine a crash pad and weight blanket, but it's a lot. Yeah, it is. It is. See, this is exactly why I am against some of these treatments for autism, guys. There is so much that we talk about that we want to do for our kids. We want to build them sensory rooms and playgrounds, and if you're spending hundreds of dollars on supplements, or oh my goodness, if you're spending 20 grand on stem cell therapy, then like you don't have the resources. You're using all your resources and time and effort on these things that have minimal impact when you could really buy stuff and build stuff that support your kids. Melissa says check thrift shops for weighted blankets. We found one for $5. Oh my goodness, really? Muffin says, what's the best thing that I can do to be a good parent for my ASD son? How to make his life easier. Oh my gosh, Muffin. Man, if there was one thing that we could do, I'll tell you the first thing. I can't tell you what's the one thing. I can tell you the first thing, though. And it's not going to be what you think. The first thing to do to take care of a kid with autism is to get yourself a village so that you can take care of yourself. Your child needs you for a long time. Your child needs you for their whole life, potentially. And if you are putting all of your time and resources and exhausting yourself right now and burning out, you are not going to be around long term for your kid. And so really what I need you to do is to build a village. I need you to surround yourself with people who care about you and your family. Right now, I have built a village to where I could call on any one of my 15 neighbors that live around me, and they would be at my house in a heartbeat. I could say, hey, I need to go to the hospital. Can you or one of your kids come over to watch my kids? And they would be there. Boom, done. And that's not something that just happened. It's something because I put so much effort into serving and taking care of people around me, and being there to give to other people, so that when I need something, I have people for me. And so it's not easy. I recommend looking at other Facebook groups in your area of autism support and meetups, and get to know other autism families, get to know your neighbors, move closer to family, do what you can. But the number one thing, or the first thing that I recommend to all autism parents, is build your village. Peds OTD dude says agreed, and parents prioritizing their own needs and respite time. Yeah. When was the last time you took a break? When was the last time you took overnight, you were away from your child with autism? Like, I'm on it. I want to know, when was the last time that you spent overnight away from your child? Tell me, is it days, months, years? Paula says never. What do you guys think? I want answers here. When was it? Jade says never. Sunshine says 7 years ago. Diana says years. Shrooner says maybe few years. Amber, I appreciate it. You back 7 years. 8 months ago, never. 8 years, never. I donate. Again, I'm not a wealthy man. I talk about being a CEO, the CEO in this industry, and for my own company. That doesn't mean I'm a wealthy guy. You've seen videos of my house. We got a small house with lots of kids. I'm just a guy like you guys, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I really prioritize. I really prioritize these breaks, you guys. You need a village. If you guys have never taken a break overnight, figure out a way how to do that. And figure out a way sounds like such an easy thing for some guy to say over the internet. But like, I'm not talking about like, yeah, I've seen people before say, hey, life hack, have you guys ever thought about hiring a maid? Like, oh, come on. Like, that's not a life hack. That's a perk of being rich or something. But I'm talking about like, put in the effort and meet your neighbors. Go make them cookies. And Lexi, thanks for bringing that up. Join this village. You guys, a village isn't just about the physical needs of immediately right now, overnight, but you need a group of people that you can trust, a group of people that you can say, hey, I'm having a hard time right now, and trust that you're going to get a response and support. And so that's a big part of this group. We have a Discord, we have a Facebook page. And are you guys a part of any Facebook groups of autism parents? Something that I hate about them. Okay, let me tell you what I hate about them. I hate being sold to. I hate how like anyone saying I'm having a hard time with my kid, all the comments are, let me do ABA for you. I'm an ABA provider. Please, let me do OT. I'm a speech therapist. And here's a supplement. And everyone trying to sell you stuff. Have you guys seen that before? That's one of my biggest pet peeves. And so we made a Facebook group. This is for people who want to have support and a village, not who want to be sold to. And so the link is in my bio for the Discord and Facebook group. Join and then invite people to be there. As we grow, we'll have more moderators help. But that's where we're at. Lolly says, does a droplet supplements help so they don't help? Good question. So it depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about general nutrition, let me say this. If your child has autism, there is no default vitamin or supplement that your child needs just because they've been diagnosed with autism. Let me say that again, because I don't think you guys really let this sink in. And I want this to be something freeing and validating. I don't want you to have more things on your plate than you need. And so I'm going to tell you, if your child has autism, there is no default supplement or vitamin or anything that your child needs simply because they're diagnosed with autism. Now, nutrition and vitamins and supplements that can help, supplement nutrition, those things should be talked about with your doctor for all of your children, whether they have autism or not. Mama, of course, you can join Discord even though you're from Germany. Please do. User says there's a diet that's helpful though. Nope, there's no diet that's helpful for people with autism. There is no evidence that there's any diet that is helpful for people diagnosed with autism. Exactly. Thank you. Everyone wants to buy this and that. Our kids are not easy, or not some lab rat. Yeah. Guys, more than that is people are selling you false hope. People are selling you false hope. People are trying to take advantage of being in a state of wanting to support your kids and giving you false hope. So, guys, but don't listen to me because user said so on here. And I'm sure that person is very smart. All right. Let's see. Food is a cure to everything. Food is great. Nutrition is so helpful. I agree, user. But it's not for autism. It's for everybody. Like whole foods, plant-based foods, like healthy, high protein. There's so much important foods and nutritions. I'm not a nutritionist, but I can say that none of that is recommended simply because of someone having autism. Jenny says, not if your kid will starve themselves before eating things. Exactly. Here's, guys, the other thing is don't overdo it with the diet stuff. Our kids, people who push these diets, clearly don't have a child with ARFID. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of people that, it's okay. People can disagree, but if you're being repetitive, like voice your disagreement, and that's okay. It's safe. It's safe space here to disagree. It's just not safe if you're spamming or being rude about it. But yeah. Guys, I wish I didn't just say the truth all the time. I tell you what, I'd have a lot more money. These supplement companies, they have so much money, man. Us influencers, they come at you. Like, they make it really motivating. I want you guys to know that. Like, I get messages all the time of like, oh my goodness, if you sponsor this and we'll pay you for this video and talk about this in your lives, and like, you got to realize, I don't hate all the influencers that do try to sell you that, but it is frustrating, and like, people need to pay bills. But man, I love it for, I'd love for people to just be able to talk about things that actually help people. Alyssa says, what do you think about Ella Ola? That's one that like, they have a multivitamin, and if you talk to your doctor and your doctor feels like your kid's nutrition is not sufficient and a multivitamin is needed, I mean, they're one of the only ones I've ever seen that has a powder form that is odorless and tasteless that you can put in things, but it's not for autism. That's what you got to understand. It doesn't address anything with autism. It's not a supplement for autism. They've actually reached out to me before, and I told them that like, I don't hate their product, but I think like pushing supplements like that, it starts down a dangerous road and not something I want to be known for. So yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. And I appreciate that. Their brains don't need healing though. Yeah. The people who say that there's toxins and diets and stuff need to support and heal the brain is implying that at some point the brain was damaged. And what we know about autism is that it is genetic. That the vast majority of autism can be explained purely by genetics. But then there is a factor of triggering those genetics and which genetics actually play out. And there can be environmental factors and things like that. Yeah, Cece says, my autistic grandson will only eat French fries and waffles, and he's 25. Protein, drinks, and vitamins. Cece, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Hey, Destiny, good to see ya. Yeah, let's see. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, French fries and waffles. Cece, this is what I want people to know about this is like, it's not as easy as like changing someone's diet is extremely effortful. And for someone that has ARFID or like extremely rigid eating, you can't just say, oh, have you thought about expanding their diet? Like, you have to be so ignorant to go look at Cece, who has a 25-year-old who eats French fries and waffles, and be like, Cece, have you ever thought about just like having them eat a healthier diet before? Like, that's the silliest thing. Like, of course she has. I mean, she has spent 25 years supporting and helping with diet. And sometimes our kids having 2 or 3 things that they can eat means that they have a full belly, and it means that they're going to be okay today. Yeah. Thank you guys. So do you think food training helps with it? Sarah, absolutely. If your child is very restricted in eating, it is going to help them immensely throughout their whole life to do feeding therapy. Now, feeding therapy is usually done by an occupational therapist, speech therapist, or sometimes ABA therapy. And it has to be someone who's specifically trained in feeding. And what they do is that they address it very slowly. It's not a like, you better eat your dinner, whatever we make, you eat, or else you go to bed hungry. Like, people will literally starve themselves and need a G-tube because they're malnutrition or malnourished. Thank you. I have autism. I think my dad had it, but if I have kids, they have a chance at not having it. Yeah. It's not a guarantee. It is genetic, which sometimes means hereditary. The statistic that I do know is that if you have autism, or if you have a child and they have autism, your next child has a 20% chance of having autism, as opposed to 2 to 3% chance when for any typical pregnancy. So, okay. 2 years of feeding therapy got us to 5 foods. Cindy, that's realistic there. I mean, people that are promoting these diets, they don't have kids with ARFID. I mean, it is a slow process. It's exhausting. And those little wins of, even just tolerating new foods on their plate, you have to celebrate. So, let's see here. All my 3 children have autism. Foz, yeah, that does tend to happen. I have 2 kids with autism. So, is it more likely to come from the mother's side or father's side? I don't know. I actually don't know that one. I don't know everything about autism. I try to learn. That's one that's going to be on my mind. I'm going to try to research that a little bit more. I do know that it's polygenic, meaning that it's we're talking hundreds of genes that play into how the brain develops with regards to autism. And so, yeah. What if your firstborn has ADD? So I don't know of any. I do know that ADHD is genetic, just like autism, actually at similar rates. We know this from twin studies. But what I don't know is if you have one child with ADHD, how likely is it that your next child is going to have autism? I don't know if that research has been done. I'll need to look at that. That's interesting. Aluda says, does it mostly affect boys than girls? More boys are diagnosed than girls. However, most people believe that a large part of that is due to girls masking earlier in childhood. That there is research to suggest that girls mask earlier than boys. Elephant says, can you talk about links between premature birth and autism? Absolutely, Elephant. So about 80% of accounting for autism is genetic. How do we know this? Well, about 80% of the time, if one identical twin who shares 100% DNA with their twin, about 80% of the time, if one has autism, the other also has autism. And so through those studies with fraternal twins where it's 50%, that's about 40% chance of having autism. And so what we can interpret from that is genetics factor about 80% of the risk factor to autism. Well, what about the other 20%? Well, the other 20% includes environmental factors and things like epigenetics of how genes play out, like which genes take priority. And premature birth can be one of those factors that brings out people with brings out autism in people who may have genetic predisposition. That is something associated. Not a guarantee, though. That's just something that is there. What ages were you and partner when you had kids? That's a good question. You guys, you're all going to judge me. We were babies. I was 23 years old when we had our first kid. And my wife was 21. So we were pretty young. But parental age is another risk factor of autism. Did you guys know that? Specifically, in the studies, they note the father's age over the age of 40 is a risk factor. Oh, Destiny, I'm saw that you messaged. I need to look at your message a little closer, okay, Destiny? I'd love to learn more about that. A community benefit from a resource navigator app powered by AI to pull autism resources. Destiny, my thought on this is I don't want a place where you can have all options. What I plan on putting forward is I'm going to have a system of where I establish criteria for what a quality provider looks like. So things like how long have they been in business? Have there been ethical violations by the board for this organization? And identify all of the things that, in my professional opinion, make a effective provider, and develop a resource list that way. And so, but I'll look at your email or your message a little closer and respond to you. Yeah, I think that's a good resource. How do you know if an organization has ethical violations? Okay, so there are a few places. There are professional boards, there are state boards, and there are state licensing agencies that you're able to reference to see concerns that they've had with organizations. All right. Oh yeah, waitlist links. That's another thing. I'm only going to include on those resources waitlist under 6 months. It's a big thing. Who's on a waitlist? What are you on a waitlist for right now? I'm curious, you guys. What waitlist are you on? Are you on a waitlist to get a diagnosis? Are you on a waitlist for ABA? Are you on a waitlist for OT? For school? Are you on any waitlist? Speech, ABA therapy for diagnosis. I've been waiting for a formal autism diagnosis for 6 years now. Lucy, I want to talk to you and anyone else who has waited longer than 6 months for an evaluation. I have heard too many stories of people thinking they're on a wait list when they're not. I've heard too many stories of people who, while they think they're on a wait list, that organization or company goes out of business and then they have to start all over again. If you are on a wait list right now, especially for an evaluation, I want to encourage you and challenge you to get on a second wait list, to call around, call for options. Oh man. Mrs. B says, does pica in toddler mean autism? Okay, so pica refers to eating of or consuming of non-edible items. And so putting things in their mouth and eating things that they should not. There is a correlation between pica and autism. It is a common behavior. Largely, there's sensory needs. The mouth there's a lot of sensory stuff happening within the mouth, and so you do see it. But that doesn't mean if your child engages in pica that they have autism. Autism has very strict requirements of what it looks like. So, Marlene says, get on 10 wait lists and keep going. Good question. Shalani says, do you think the older you are having your second child, the more risk of autism? There's actually some evidence on that. Now, it's a small correlation. We know that autism is largely genetic, but about 20% of it is how your genes play out and how the environment plays out around you. One of those environmental components can be parental age. And so there is a risk factor of and the studies I've looked at parents over the age of 40, which has mostly impacted paternal age, the father's age at conception. DX says, is it possible to get another assessment after the first one was kind of inconclusive? Yeah, you're going to need to get another evaluation, but you may need to wait 6 months to a year. There are still some services. Quite often you can still get occupational therapy and speech therapy if it's tied specifically to delays or sensory issues or any other diagnoses you have. You will not be eligible for ABA therapy while you wait. Let's see. How often should therapies be? Okay. How many hours a week are y'all getting ABA therapy? If you have ABA, how many hours a week are you getting? If you're not doing ABA, put 0. But how many hours a week are you doing ABA therapy? So ABA therapy, applied behavior analysis therapy in the United States, is probably the most supported and funded service for people with autism. And they will fund up to 40 hours per week of services, of therapy. Now, that is not therapy with a licensed board certified behavior analyst. The way that it works and how they can afford to pay 20 to 40 hours a week of therapy is because the model of ABA is that the clinician, the board certified behavior analyst, doesn't directly work with your child most of the time. They train a technician to work with your child. So that's the model. And quite often, when my kid got diagnosed, I wanted as many hours as I could if my child was enjoying it and showing progress. So, can we talk about caregiver burnout? and how to get through it. Yeah. I feel burned out, you guys. I got to be honest with you. I am burning out. Burnout is real, you guys. Who's burned out? Let me know. If you're burned out, let me know. I want to know that I'm not alone here, but I feel burned out. But I know that doesn't help you. I mean, it doesn't help you by me saying I'm burned out. I think I just got asked out, you guys. Haunted Brooklyn just says date night ? Sure, I'll go on a date with you. That's my wife, you guys. That's my wife in the chat. I'm not being weird. That's my wife. I think we should do that, Brooklyn. Date nights help. Absolutely. I think that means did you used to work for Chrysalis? How did you know that? I did. I used to work for Chrysalis. I was a behavior analyst with Chrysalis for a few years. Did you? What's your name? Were you able to see my message? My question keeps getting skipped. I didn't see it, Winnie. I didn't see it. Let me put it in a few times. Let me see it. Are you able to see my message? I keep seeing the one that says, are you able to see my message? But not the actual message. Oh, my goodness. Oh, David. Yeah, I remember you, man. I remember you. Yes, that was a long time ago. One of those, unfortunately, you probably know this, passed away. Yeah. What do you think about stem cells for autism? Okay, I got thoughts about stem cell therapy, you guys. First of all, I don't get frustrated at parents who are trying all the things. Okay, I understand. I understand the perspective. I try to do everything. But sometimes you can't do everything. Stem cell therapy is one of those things where there's good theory behind it. There is good theory. I wouldn't lump this into pseudoscience. I would call this emerging science without clear evidence of effectiveness. And so that's the difference. I don't recommend it because it's 15 to 20 grand, not clear evidence yet. But who knows? Who knows where it would be in a couple of years. Hopefully there's more research on it. And if there is, insurance will pay for it. That's a big thing. Don't pay for it. And if it shows to be effective, insurance will pay for it when it shows to be effective. Winnie says, I was asking, what's the key difference between autism versus developmental delay? My son was born a preemie. Good question. Autism versus developmental delay. Okay, autism does not necessarily equal to an intellectual disability. However, and it doesn't always come with developmental delays in the sense of like gross motor delays. A lot of the delays that you see with autism include communication and social. And so my kid had both. My son had developmental delays and autism. He wasn't sitting up at the age of 1. And he learned to walk at, what was it, Brooklyn, like 20 months old or something. I mean, he was, some may say a late bloomer, but he was developmentally delayed. And so autism focuses more on the unique challenges that come with a neurodivergent brain of, some communication deficits, social deficits, and sensory issues. Started crawling after 1. Yeah, for sure. Jen says, thank you. My husband is wanting stem cells for a 4-year-old nonverbal autistic son. I'm scared. Jen, yeah, look at this. If you're looking at paying thousands of dollars, okay, it's not just the cost of the treatment, but you have to go out of the country to do it unless you're participating in a clinical trial. Here's, I think it gives false hope. It gives false hope because the data that we have is not convincing that there's meaningful impact. Okay. And so imagine having the amount of money that you're gonna have to take off of work, that you're gonna have to pay for flights, that you're gonna have to pay for the therapies, that you're gonna have to pay, all the effort around it. And so what I recommend is put those resources somewhere else. If you have the resources to do that, put it somewhere else. Build a sensory garage with trampolines and ball pit and slides, and make it the dream space for your kid. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Karen says, autistic here. I work in ABA. Thank you for being part of the community, serving people. Amy, welcome in. It's good to see you. It is good to see you. For everybody that's new here, make sure you're following me. I go live every day. We talk to people about autism. We provide autism support. We are a group that supports each other. Why does autism affect speech in some kids? You find a 4-year-old unable to talk. Mrs. P, that is one of the key things with autism is struggling with communication, and some struggle more than others. That is why early intervention is so critical. Most kids who are nonverbal, who start early intervention before the age of 3, I've seen data that suggests 95% go on to communicate conversationally when they get early intervention through interventions like ABA, speech therapy, PRT, things like that. Okay, let's keep talking here. A little bit more about me. So I am a father. I got 4 kids, but my youngest 2 are diagnosed with autism. I got a 3.5-year-old and a 1.5-year-old with autism, and I love them to death. I mean, I will do anything for my kids. I have started businesses for my kids. I have advocated and worked on changing policy for my children. I will do anything to make sure that my children have the supports that they need. So that's my background. I'm also a board-certified behavior analyst. I've worked in ABA for a long time, worked with people with disabilities and autism since 2013. Currently, I'm also the CEO of a company that provides services to people with autism throughout the state of Utah. So that's what we're doing. Carla says, what is considered nonverbal? My son can tell us what he needs or wants sometimes. Others, he is quiet. Yeah, it's not a perfect label. I don't like the label verbal or nonverbal because it's not binary like that. Language, it does not. I've never once seen it be overnight. They wake up and they go from nonverbal to verbal. There's a process of learning language. Some people call that pre-verbal. But I don't even like that language. I think it's just clear to say he struggles with communication still. And I think that's sufficient. And you know where he's at. It's not about changing that label. It's about making sure he can more and more advocate for himself. Yeah, Amy, labels. Ugh. Yeah, I agree. What do I think of devices that speak for nonverbal 6-year-olds? Okay, that's the other part is nonverbal. Nonverbal, I don't like that either because speaking with an iPad or with an AEC device is communication. That is verbal behavior. That is your child's voice. I think it's wonderful. You are not, what is the word I'm looking for? Settling. You are not settling by allowing your kid to communicate through an AEC device. There is strong evidence that learning to communicate with using an AEC device not only does not hinder vocal communication, but can actually support increasing vocal communication. Rudolin says, what do you think about alternative medicine? Well, if there's, it depends on if there's evidence for things, I mean, and what you consider alternative medicine. What I recommend parents to do when they're at the stage, okay, we're all at a different stage of the autism journey. First, you got to build your village and get your support. Second, you got to get your diagnosis and clarity of what's going on. And then you need to build your care team. And when I talk about care teams, I'm really only talking about 4 therapies that I recommend right off the bat. And that includes things like ABA therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and mental health therapy. Not that you have to do all of those, but it's good to look into those therapies and see which one fits your child and their current needs. But alternative medicines, I guess it depends on what we're looking at there of what you mean. What does a child feel when he's having a crisis and throws everything? Let's see. I'm trying to see the rest of that comment. It's not letting me. But let me put you a little bit in the shoes of a child with autism. I do this thought experiment sometimes, you guys. I want you to think for a second. If you are wearing socks, were you thinking about what your socks felt like right now? Was that on your mind right now until I pointed it out? What about the light above your head? Were you thinking about that light above your head? What about the what about the furnace or the air conditioning? Probably the furnace right now that's running. Were you listening to that? Were you aware of it? Many people with autism describe autism as the world being so loud that all of those sensory inputs are going on at the same time. I can't imagine. I am not the sound the lights are making. Yeah, I've never even thought about that. Yet, while I am talking to you, people who have autism, quite often, they're hearing my voice, but also experiencing everything around them going on at the same time. And that, when you have that perception, I would have meltdowns and tantrums as well. And oh my goodness, the world is loud. The world is challenging. And so I totally understand meltdowns. I understand them. And one of the Champagne, thank you. I'm hearing people who have autism and they're agreeing with me. And maybe you're not diagnosed and now you're like, wait, not everyone feels everything all at once and sees everything all at once. And it's a common experience. Not everyone with autism necessarily experiences it the same, but it's a common feature of autism, and the world is so loud. I have autism and ADHD, and it's extremely overwhelming, but also a gift. Champagne, thank you for sharing that. We can point out the challenges, and we can also point out how beautiful it is. I love my son's ability to require order in things. I love that he sees from afar when something isn't where it should be or how it should go. He can point that from afar. I love, here's another example of that. I know that for my son, the world is so loud. And the way I know this is because he imitates the sounds that I never even paid attention to. He doesn't just imitate words, but he imitates people's coughs. And I never realized how often people cough. He imitates the sound that the TV makes when it boops when you are flipping the channel. And he imitates every sound. He imitates when you sneeze. He imitates when you are chewing. And he imitates the blinker in the car. He's 3.5 years old, Amy. And to me, that really points out, it's not just he's trying to find things to imitate, but those things are so salient in his brain that he finds it important to say out loud. Bro, what are your thoughts on The Good Doctor? I enjoyed it. And I don't speak for everybody, but I enjoyed that show. DK says, is this why my daughter loves being awake at night? Less sensory input. That's a good question. I've also heard that there have been studies that have shown that people with autism are unable to turn the world off and the noises off even at night. That those noises and the subtle things going on in their environment are still loud and in their head and prevent them from going into deep sleep. Did you receive therapy while growing up? I did not. I also am not diagnosed with autism. I know that this is a misleading post a little bit. I'm just very close involved with the autism community. Carolina says, yes, I have to sleep with some type of gray noise in my ears. Yeah. What do you mean by alternative medicine? Yeah, that's a good question. Why do most autistic people develop agoraphobia? I think this is part of it. Let me make sure I define it right. Agoraphobia is an anxiety disorder characterized by an intense fear of environments where escape might be difficult or help unavailable during a panic attack. It often leads to avoiding public spaces, crowds, or being alone outside, with severe cases causing people to become housebound. Let me explain a little bit of this too, and this is an experience that a lot of people feel. Now imagine here's another way to imagine autism. Okay, and I think it also plays into agoraphobia as well. But think of it like you are in a play, you're on stage, and everyone's watching you, and everyone else has a script, but you don't have a script. Okay, you don't know the social cues. You don't know what to say, what not to say. You don't have the script. You didn't go to rehearsal, but you're performing in front of a crowd of people. Now imagine doing that, but there's no exit to the stage. Like, that social anxiety is very real with people with autism. It's scary to not always know what the correct thing to do is in a situation. So I don't know. That's some thought I have. Can you advise on gluten-free? Maya, that's a good question. There is no recommended diet for people with autism. No unique dietary needs that have been shown to be any different than a neurotypical person. Their bodies function just like everyone else's bodies and need the same nutrients and food as anyone else. And so if you have an autistic child, that doesn't mean that you need to be looking at a different diet. Amy says, ABA, it can be awesome and can be terrible. Be a part of the process, allowed to be present. If not, red flag. Amy, I agree. I'm a BCBA. I do ABA, and it is totally valid when I hear adults with autism say that they had traumatic experiences with ABA. There's a few things that go into this. One is ABA used to target some messed up things. I mean, it used to promote compliance and masking. Those were like the biggest things. Yeah, you were just trying to make your kid look normal. Stop hand flapping, sit still, do things that aren't developmentally appropriate, and like, you have to do what I say because I'm the adult. And so, yeah, there were some things there that were traumatic. And if you get any sense of that in your ABA therapy that you get, make sure that you address that, because that's not how ABA should be done today. All right. Have you heard about early intervention? Champagne, absolutely. Early intervention is the way to go. Guys, don't postpone getting a diagnosis. How old was your child when they got diagnosed? Put it in the chat. There's no judgment here, whether they were 12 or they were 2. I want to know, how old was your child? Both of my kids were 1 when they were diagnosed. My son it was like the day before he turned 2 that he got diagnosed. And so he was 2. My daughter, she was 20 months when she got diagnosed. And you can test as early as 18 months usually. Yeah, both of my kids were diagnosed with level 2. So there's no, like, 18 months is usually youngest. There is pretty clear evidence that the earlier you start therapies and support, the more progress that you're able to see. And so if you are like, don't allow your own fear of giving your child a label prevent you from getting a diagnosis. All right, you guys, what we're going to do right now, let's see. I am going to go ahead and invite people up who have a question. We're going to keep simple questions. We're going to keep things going, but I want to hear the questions out loud. You can ask them in the chat and I'll try to get to them. But also, if you're willing to come up, hit request. Hit request if you have a question that you want to come up and you want to ask. I think some people can't see it. Some people can't see. I don't know why sometimes it doesn't allow requests. Let's see here. Okay, let's see here. Can you guys see it now? If you can't see request, it might be because you're not following me. But hit the follow button, then you'll be able to request that. Let's see, what's that, Lexi? What did I see? All right, Lexi, I can bring you up and you can sit there. And all right, let's see here. I don't know why that didn't work. There we go. All right, we got some requests coming in. Good morning, Lexi. Good morning, Kunu. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. What question do you got for us today?
So we're trying to find a biomedical doctor for our son, but I think that's not the name for the hospitals. What is the name of it?
So, what kind of doctor are you looking for? What is it that you're looking to do for your child?
So when I do OS test,
Oh, to do the autism evaluation to see if he has autism.
no, he's been diagnosed with autism, but when I check OS test, it's called OAT test. Like that's how it's spelled.
OAT.
Yeah, it's a lab work.
OAT test autism. Let's see. Oh, organic acid test. It's a functional urine-based test often used to analyze metabolic, nutritional, and gastrointestinal imbalances. So what are you looking to accomplish with an OAT?
So we're afraid, when our son goes to bathroom to have his poop, he has hard time pushing out.
Oh, he's constipated.
Yeah. So and
Where do you
he's a
live?
little bit. I live in North Carolina, Charlotte,
Awesome.
and he's a little bit hyper too.
Okay, well, let me tell you what you need to do. So, kids with autism often do have the GI issues, the gastrointestinal issues, and a lot of that can come from restricted diets, right? If you're not getting enough fiber, you're gonna have some struggles. And so, I would only do the tests that a GI doctor or your pediatrician sends to you. And so, if this is one of those, I'm trying to look at what it actually looks like. The OIT. Let's see. It looks at yeast, bacterial overgrowth, mitochondrial function, neurotransmitter. There's no strong clinical evidence that supports using OAT tests to diagnose, guide treatment, or improve outcomes in autism. Let's see. But let's see. Does it help with? Okay, so that is not something that usually OAT is able to detect. Is what I'm seeing. So what I'm going to recommend is stick with traditional medicine here and talk to your pediatrician about the constipation. You don't need to be looking for like metabolic issues or things like that to treat autism. And like constipation, here's the thing: constipation happens with all the kids. It's one of the number one reasons why kids go to the doctor. And kids with autism, if they have restricted eating, they're going to see it even more. And if they don't communicate well, they may have that issue, and you may not even realize it, and it may be causing them pain. So it's a very real problem. But what you're doing is you're treating the constipation. You're not looking to treat autism. And so go find a GI doctor or talk to your pediatrician. Does that sound good?
Yes, it does. It does.
All right. Thank you so much for coming up. I appreciate the question. That's a good topic, you guys. And I learn new things. There are so many tests out there that people recommend. If it's a test that you can find in the link of someone's bio, it's probably not a test that you should be doing by default for a kid with autism, okay? General says, what about fecal matter transplant? That's GI based. You know what? I've actually read some research about like improving metabolic health with a lot of people that do that. Not something autism based. I've never read any research about fecal matter transplant and addressing autism symptoms. Should we see if there's any research out there about fecal matter transplant? I suspect there's not. Let's see. Is it necessary to do the genetics test? It depends what genetics test you're talking about. So there are studies out there like the Spark study that you can get the genetic test done. You can pinpoint quite often that they may identify any gene mutations related to autism that they find. But you got to be careful because there's other gene tests out there. Again, this is one of those that you may see in the link of someone's bio, is like the MTHFR test. Okay, you'll see that one a lot, and a lot of people think that's like testing for autism or a gene associated with autism. But there's no evidence that the MTHFR gene variants occur more often in people with autism, and in fact, it occurs in 20 to 40%, that mutation of the population. And so that's not one that I would worry about. Okay, there is research on fecal microbiota transplantation, FMT, and autism, but it's very early, mostly preliminary, and not definitive yet. Let's see. So it's early on, but mostly it's to address gut issues, not autism symptoms. So if you're looking at that stuff, like try to be a part of a trial if you want to, but that's not any kind of established treatment or anything. Okay, let's keep looking at some of these questions. Okay, let's see here. Sarah, I think I was gonna make you a moderator, wasn't I? Was I talking to you about that, Sarah?
Yes, I messaged you.
Yeah, let me see if I can get you on here.
I think I'm on. Oh, as a mod. Okay.
Yeah, trying to get you on as a mod. You are up here. I don't know why it's not letting me. Okay. Oh, that's not what I tried to do. Oh, what am I doing, you guys? What am I doing? I don't know. Okay, here we go.
You messed up my taps.
Sorry. Sorry,
Okay,
guys.
so
all right, it's not...
I am an autism mom.
Awesome.
Also.
Very cool. Were you coming up to remind me about the mod, or did you want to come up and ask a question?
Well, yeah, I wanted to remind you about the mod, but I just wanted to say that I am in Southern Illinois, and I know that you're not too far from me. And my son is 9 years old. He was diagnosed at age 2 with profound autism, and he is still currently not. He can say words, but he cannot speak in sentences or ask questions. He still never asked me a question. But we go to therapy. I think, I agree with you with therapy being the most important thing. And I do see a lot of people suggesting all of these different supplements. And I've tried a lot of different things, but therapy seems to work the best for long term.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it also helps our grieving process. I think the supplements and the medicines kind of entertain this idea that this is something that's toxic within him, some problem that he has that we need to get rid of in his body. And the therapies are more of how do we support and help our kid grow the most that they can. And an interesting thing that comes to my mind is some of the talks right now around autism are changing up the diagnosis and the spectrum. They're looking at adding a profound autism. There's talks about this, of a profound autism category that can only be given after the age of 8, and if there's profound restrictions with communication after the age of 8. And that's interesting to me. I think that's something that we need to keep our eye on, because no matter, therapies are not to make your kid normal. It's not to get rid of autism. It's to help your kid become the best version of themselves that they can be. And I think that can build frustration in some families where they hear these other success stories of therapy working for one kid, and for their kid, there's still, a lot of challenges. And but yeah, I agree with you. The therapy is where we can support the most.
Yeah, I agree, because whenever they are an adult, 40, 50 years old, those supplements aren't necessarily going to be available for them, but the things that they learned in therapy are going to stick with them for the rest of their life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. Sarah, can I get you to comment in the chats? Anything, just say hi or something. Because it doesn't let me click on your profile from your view right here. I
Okay.
need to, well, actually, let's see. Yeah, say something in the chat real quick, and I'll add you as a mod. Thank you for being in here.
Okay, I'll just say hi in all caps.
There we
you
go. There we go. Let's see. Add moderator. There we go. Boom. All right, Sarah, I'm going to go ahead and drop you.
Okay.
Thanks for coming up.
Okay, thank you.
All right, have a good one. All right, everybody, let's keep answering some questions. Let's keep talking about things. Destiny, I haven't made you a moderator before, and I just decided to because I know you and have talked to you. So, anyway, how's everyone doing? I appreciate all the moderators. Let me just give a quick shout out. This can be a space where a lot of people can come in and be rude. When I also will say that like TikTok is known for arguments, for people being rude and negativity. However, I honestly have never seen a more positive comment section. And it's because our moderators filter things out pretty quick. And it's okay to disagree. You can say, hey, I don't agree with what you're saying. And, here are my thoughts. That is okay. That is fine. But what we're not going to do is we don't spam negativity. We're not rude. And we don't judge parents of kids with autism for sure. All right, guys. How to deal with 23-year-old having meltdowns, possibly hormonal. Yes, girl. That is a good question. I'm assuming you're talking about like one of like your adult child with autism having meltdowns. And I want you to know that the support for people with autism should not end at adulthood. And unfortunately, it does tighten up. I mean, for adults, there's not nearly as many services out there as early intervention services. In Utah, if you lived in Utah, I'd say, hey, let's see if my company can help support you, because my company does work with teens and adults. But yeah, I would recommend as much therapy that you can get in for your child. I mean, if that's mental health therapy at that age, if they can communicate and things like that, I recommend it. Screaming very loudly, gritting teeth very hard. You're in Tennessee. That can be scary. You guys, your kid is going to grow up. Have you realized that? Like, if you're a parent of a kid with autism and they're 2-3 years old, they're going to be an adult. And I know you've thought about this. But what we don't always realize is those meltdowns may still continue. Do you have any kind of therapy or support? If I were a clinician working with your child, what I would do is called a functional behavior assessment, and I would identify environmental triggers that could be impacting your child, and then working on skills to address those triggers and help your child engage in the environment more successfully. And so it's a pretty complex thing. The biggest thing that you can do as a parent outside of professional help is stay calm yourself. And that's so hard to do. It's easier to say, but hard to do. But you really need to be the person that they can regulate with, a safe space for them. All right, let's keep the questions coming, you guys. Hey, if you are new here, I want to know, put it in the chat, FYP, if you are just barely finding me. If you found me on the For You page, put FYP. I want to see that in the chat. If you found me today on your For You page, I want to know about it. Put FYP in the chat. Wow. Okay, there's a lot of people just finding me today. Go ahead and make sure you hit me a follow. I go live every day. For a couple hours. We talk about autism. We talk about being an autism parent. I am a autism parent of 2 kids with autism. I'm also a board certified behavior analyst doing ABA therapy, and currently the CEO of a company that provides autism supports in the state of Utah, where we have a few clinics. But really, I go live here to build my village. Something I also haven't talked about enough today is our Discord and our Facebook group. This village, we all need a village, and I hate getting marketed to. Okay, you don't hear me talking about, scammy things or trying to sell you stuff. I created a Facebook group and a Discord where we can express positivity, we can complain, we can say we're having a hard time, and then not immediately be told that we need to join someone's ABA therapy provider. The Facebook group and Discord link are in my bio, so go ahead and join those. We'll probably check the group. It's a very active group. We just started it yesterday, and already, the comments are going crazy. So many things. We're having polls. We're having people share photos of their amazing kids. So it's a fun group. It's a private group. Yep, absolutely. Melissa says ABA evaluation next week. What should we expect during the appointment? Oh, good question, you guys. If you are just barely starting ABA, here is what you should expect in that evaluation. You should know that what they're doing is they're trying to build a case to prove to insurance that your kid needs ABA. And you need to understand, insurance doesn't want to pay. If you have ever had an issue with insurance approving autism services, put insurance in the chat. Put insurance in the chat if you have ever had insurance deny or have an issue with paying for your child's services. Look at that, you guys. Insurance doesn't want to pay. They denied my child's ABA therapy. And I got to tell you, oh man, I got fired up. The day that they denied my child's ABA therapy, I was so frustrated. And oh my goodness, I was so upset. Look, insurance, that's the whole thing. So the first goal of what ABA is trying to do is justify. Melissa says our insurance only covers 2 clinics in my area. Now you should know that if they don't have sufficient coverage, if they have wait lists at those 2 clinics, you would be able to go and get a single case agreement with another provider who is not in network with your insurance. So just keep that in mind. Epic asks if I'm in America. Yes. That's why we're talking about health insurance, unfortunately, is we got to deal with insurance taking as much money from us as they can and trying not to pay as much as they can. That's the game that we play. And your ABA provider is on your side trying to tell your insurance company that you need it. So during the assessment, they're going to be building a case. What they're going to be doing is they're going to be looking at, skill deficits, communication deficits, all the things where a starting point. And so it can feel overwhelming, especially like focusing on challenges that your child has. But just realize they're doing this so that they can build a case and show insurance that your child needs the therapy. They should, a red flag would be if they don't ask your opinion on what you feel like they should be addressing, and if they don't talk about why they want to address specific things with your child. They should be working on setting up goals. Okay, let's keep looking here.
Kylan, can I say something really quick?
Of course, go ahead.
I just want to let everybody know who's joining the Facebook group. Just make sure you answer those questions. It's like 3 questions and it literally takes 1 minute. If you don't answer the questions, we will have to deny your request to enter because of the fact that those questions are very important to us to make sure that we don't flood the Facebook with the information that Kylan wants to keep out of the Facebook. So please, just when you do the requests, make sure that you answer those 3 really quick questions. Like I said, it only takes 1 minute, and then we can accept you. We want to accept everybody, but we just need to make sure that you understand the rules.
Yeah, we just don't want any marketing, you guys, and we want positivity. It's a support group, really, for us autism parents, or if you have autism, it's a safe space. We don't judge. Link is in my bio. And the Discord is the same. Some people don't have Facebook. Some people don't have Discord. So we have both options. All right. Let's see here. Melissa accidentally skipped a question. Okay. Yes. Kobe says in UK we have free healthcare and excellent autism support. Kobe, I love that. I love that. One of the challenges in the UK right now is that I've been hearing that they have stopped referring people to get an autism evaluation in some areas of the UK due to the waitlist time. And so that is a challenge. But man, I tell you what, like I talk to so many families who would love to do ABA, but they can't afford to pay their max out of pocket. You will hit your max out of pocket. Guys, let me give you a little hack. Let me give you a hack. I have inside knowledge, okay, on ABA companies. I know ABA companies really, really well. In fact, I own an ABA company. Something that you should be aware of is your portion that you are responsible to pay for in ABA is very, very small compared to the amount that insurance reimburses them. If you're getting 40 hours a week of ABA therapy, you're going to hit like a $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 max out of pocket in a single month of ABA therapy. It can be expensive. But these ABA companies, they want you to be there. Like for me, when I see a kid and I hear that their parents are considering not doing the therapy because of the cost, they are able to put in financial aid programs. Now, here's what they can't do. They can't say, hey, if you come to my clinic, you don't have to pay your deductible. That is illegal to say that, okay? You can't say, come to my ABA therapy clinic and you don't have to pay your portion. But what they can do is offer a generous financial aid program equally to everybody who asks about it. And so ask your ABA provider about financial aid. And if they say, oh, we can put you on a payment plan, you can say, hey, look, I even have a hard time paying that portion. But I really want my kid to have as many hours as they can through your services. What options do I have? And the vast majority of ABA providers will give you the tools to be able to write off your portion of ABA. Okay? Please be aware of that. Okay, let's keep looking here. Any tips to get my son back to sleep in his bed? He acts like he's terrified of his bed. Yes, I do have some advice. I talked about this very, very early today on the live. Okay, guys, here's what I recommend, and it's what I do. You need to get a light, okay? A sleep training light. And there's a lot of options. We use the Hatch light. For convenience, I did link it in my Amazon cart. But there's so many other options. So what we do is we make it turn green when it's bedtime, or red when it's bedtime. Red means bed. Green means wake up. Okay? Green means wake up. And we practice during the day. So when it's red, we say, okay, let's go get in bed, and we play the game. And then we make it turn green, and he can get out. And then that way, when he gets out of bed in the middle of the night, we can easily just say, oh, the light is still red. That means it's bedtime. And they can go back into bed. Remember, our kids love consistency. They love routine. And if you build in this routine that red means bed and you instill that in them, I mean, they are going to be your best, most consistent sleepers. It's a great routine. All right, you guys, keep asking these questions. I'm curious, do you think autism is genetic or is it possible to be conditioned in childhood? Cassafras, good question. And again, no judgment. We say this here, and that's a fair question. I know there's a lot of people who genuinely want to know this. Autism develops in utero. It is a prenatal development of the brain. It is not something that occurs after a child is born. Okay, so I responded to a post the other day of a parent who said, or a creator who said, Like there's this new thing called virtual autism. If your kid has too much screen time, they don't know how to talk to other people. Ha ha ha, this is virtual autism. And you can reverse it. Virtual autism doesn't exist. And like screen time or your parenting or vaccines do not cause autism to begin with your child. It is genetic. And we know this through twin studies. The identical twins who share 100% DNA, despite having different childhoods and different environments and factors in their life, they largely both have autism if one of them has autism. So, okay. All right, everybody. I want to share some information here. I want to share some information. I just learned that the FDA last week quietly removed a page on their website about autism. Have you guys heard about this? I talked about it at the very beginning of the live, but there weren't very many people in here. The FDA quietly removed warnings about autism on the website. The FDA for years have had a list of treatments for autism that were considered ineffective or dangerous. A warning page for parents of people with autism on what therapies not to participate in. Some of these therapies, and they have removed that page. That page no longer exists. Some of these therapies include chelation therapy. This is heavy metal detoxing medicine. Now, when you do chelation therapy, that can strip your body of metals in your bloodstream that your body needs, like iron, like zinc. And it's extremely dangerous. It can actually hospitalize children when they're doing chelation therapy. And unfortunately, 1 in 15 kids with autism are put through chelation therapy, even today. And it's meant for like heavy lead poisoning is what that medicine is for emergencies. And people think that they're curing their kids' autism by getting rid of toxins. And so that was on the FDA's website. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, marketed by some alternative medicine promoters, but not supported as an autism treatment. Chlorine dioxide, or the miracle mineral supplement, which is a bleaching agent, sometimes ingested by people believing it treats autism. They previously had warned that it can be toxic and life-threatening. Raw camel milk, sometimes marketed as therapeutic, but it's risky due to foodborne illness and no proven benefit. That was taken out. Detoxifying clay baths and similar detox products were warned against. These are promoted online with no scientific basis and with potential safety concerns. And then also essential oils and other natural products marketed with implicit claims about autism symptom improvement. So this was removed. Now, I should be clear, this does not mean that they came out and right out recommended these treatments. What it does mean, though, is that they are taking a more silent approach to what they recommend. And so I think it's important as they get quieter, I am going to be louder about some of the dangers of these things and why these myths still persist. And let me tell you what the problem here is a lot of these cures or supports that claim to be supports for people with autism are huge moneymakers. The supplement industry is huge. If you think big pharma is big, wait till you learn about the supplement industry. Especially here on TikTok. Just about every creator who talks about who talks about autism ends up getting reached out and they advertise for supplements in their bio. And so the government said, y'all figure it out. Exactly. And so I'm concerned, and to me it tells me that I am going to need to speak a little bit louder and call it out when I see it. I'm going to ask you guys to do something. When you see people promoting these things, that don't seem to have evidence, that seem to be trying to market fear-based to us autism parents, please tag me. I want to call this out when I see it a little bit. And I know we see it all the time. I see it all the time. Alessandro says, so if someone has heavy metal toxicity, what would one do to remove the heavy metals? Alessandro, okay, so there are so many tests out there. Again, if you're taking these tests, a lot of times you find it in the link in someone's bio. There's these metal testing, and they like put you in red because there's, you know, a little bit more. But if you test any other person, they'd also have a couple in red. Like, it's all within normal bounds. But there is real risk to heavy metal poisoning. Not just like, oh, your iron is a little high. No, the real concern is like lead poisoning, okay? And that's what chelation therapy is for. But autism is not associated with the heavy metals. So, is Fiji water good? I think all water's good. You gotta, drink water. Water's great. Yeah, you can also have the pediatrician do blood tests for these tests. Yeah, so if you're worried that your child was exposed to lead poisoning or something, go ahead, go to the ER. Absolutely. Go get doctors to do the tests. Just here's the thing to ask you is if you wouldn't give the supplement to a neurotypical kid, why are you doing it to your kid with autism? There's no evidence for these. So Manal says, what do you recommend for ARFID? Well, ARFID is restricted eating, and I recommend compassion. I recommend people quit blaming parents for their kids' rigid eating and give your kid your safe food and accept slow progress. Do food therapy, move slow. It's okay if your kid just eats French fries and chicken nuggets for a minute. Let's get them fed. Let's fill their belly, get them their safe food, and that's my recommendation. All right, you guys, let's bring up some friends, you guys. This is a time that we can just have a conversation. Let's see. If you want to come up and you're just a friend wanting to chat and check in on how things go, I got about another 10 minutes, and this can just be an open conversation, you guys. We got Lexi on here. Put a request in the chat. If you don't see a request, it's because you don't follow me. So hit me a follow, and then you can request. I'm going to bring people up. And we're just going to have a conversation. Let's see here. I didn't notice. There may have been a couple people in here with questions. Right now, we're just going to just be hanging out, checking in on people. If you want to come and visit, request up. Let's see how people are doing. Hey, Sydney, how are you?
I'm doing good. Actually, I'm sick.
Oh, no, you're not doing good. I'm glad you caught yourself. Great. You didn't lie up here.
I know. I usually will say I'm fine, but I have strep throat.
Oh, do you have strep? Oh, my
do.
gosh.
Luckily, my kid is with his dad for the week, and I can just be sick in peace, and he's not sick,
that's wonderful.
Because just the thought of him getting it just gives me anxiety. So
yeah, I tell you what, strep throat is no joke. I was hospitalized last year for strep throat. It went after my kidneys, and I didn't know that was a thing. But in rare cases, strep throat can go after kidneys, and I went into kidney failure and had to go into the hospital. I was hospitalized for a few days, and oh my gosh! And they said it was just the damage that strep throat went after the kidneys. So
wow, it's serious. I woke up at 2 a.m. because I was like, okay, this is bad. And I went to the ER and I was like, I need a steroid shot and antibiotics. And they're like, well, let's see what it is. I'm like, look, I know my body. So they did they ended up coming back doing what I asked. But, and I'm, time off work now, recovering. But listening to you, I just want to thank you for everything that you say, everything that you're putting out there. It has been so helpful to me as an autism mom. And around the topic of supplements, you're absolutely right. Yeah. I get fed every day ad after ad after ad on these supplements. And I'm guilty of purchasing just about all of them,
Yeah, we want to do what's right for our kids.
We want to see if there's something that can help my child.
We feel guilty if we
you do.
Every
if you don't.
That we have.
You don't. Yeah. The one thing I will say that I have that I do use that I like for my son is the multivitamin, like the flavorless multivitamin.
Yeah.
I can't really tell a difference, but just knowing that because he is like a very restrictive eater, and I don't force him to try foods he doesn't want to try. Like,
Yeah.
if you have a kid with RFID, it doesn't work. You can't force them. You know what I mean?
No, and
So
talking to the doctor, and they can do labs and
Yeah.
stuff and see if you. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. In fact, that company tried to sponsor me, and honestly, I was like, you know what, like that could help a lot of people. I don't have issues
Yeah,
with it.
even and like you
But,
said, like I think a good barometer is, would you give it to a neurotypical kid?
Yeah.
And it's like a flavorless vitamin, why not? You know, and like, what else does my son use? I have found that magnesium sleep gummies help at night. Not much. He's still not sleeping through the night, but he does get about a solid 5 or 6 hours, where without it, he'll only get about 2 or 3 hours at a time.
Yeah.
So those are just a couple of
And I
supplements
recommend like all of these. I wouldn't start giving my kids any supplements without talking to the pediatrician, because
For sure,
there a
for
lot of
sure.
these, like, they can either be unnecessary and expensive, and
Mm-hmm.
your pediatrician may not recommend it. But they also
Yep.
like you think doctors are just in it for big pharma and making money. Like, no, they'll recommend, like, if they think your kid needs magnesium or whatever,
Well,
they're gonna recommend it, and they're gonna work with you on it. And it's it's not
that's
some
kind of
magic
how I
pill
got
for
there,
autism.
because
Yeah.
I went to my son's doctor looking for medication,
Yeah.
because I was like, look, he's not sleeping, he doesn't eat much, like the standard autism, like, symptoms are just running our life, what kind of, medication? And she was like, okay, well, let's just try these things for a few months and see if we see any improvement before we go to medication. And so we're kind of just trying it.
I mean, it's a real
Um,
thing. Like that magnesium,
just
like, has
seeing.
been shown to help with sleep, and doctors can recommend it. But again, I'm always cautious of. You did it the exact right way, and that's what I recommend. There's so many parents who try to play doctor all on their own, and I think it's good to just keep your pediatrician involved and make good decisions and make sure that their overall care is considered. And Amy, hello, thank you for coming up. We're just at the chit chat at the end of the couple hour part of this. How are you doing, Amy?
Yeah.
How's your day been?
Yeah, I'm doing. We have a wildfire that's about a mile from my house right now, so it's been a lot of running around and trying to make sure my baby's bag is packed and we've got all her meds and her seizure stuff.
Are they looking at evacuations potentially?
Yeah, they were doing evacuations closer to the fire, like the neighborhoods immediately surrounding them, and then they kind of start moving out from there. But it seems that they have it contained, ? So we will see. It's really really windy here right now, so unfortunately that does not help the situation, because the wind, we are up against the other side of the mountains from you. So the wind really it just picks up out here and it takes over, so we have to be careful when it comes to that kind of stuff, because the winds can switch so quick and blow it a different direction. So I have just been calling insurance and making sure coverages are good, and packing bags for the baby, making sure her sensory stuff is somewhere reachable and stuff like that, so we don't have to leave it. Yeah, all in all, been a very chaotic month. I'm sorry it was gone the first half. Well, two-thirds of this, but I'm here now. And,
You're cutting out, Amy.
oh, sorry.
No, you're okay.
Yeah,
We heard most of it. It just slowly started to, so you're good. I sent I let some other people up as well. I'm sorry that you guys are facing the evacuations and stuff. I mean, I hope it doesn't progress and that they get it under control. Can everyone still see me and hear me?
I can still hear you and see you clearly.
Oh, good. Let's see. Who else do we have up here? Who is this? Let's see. And my mom. How are you?
Hello, I'm new here, but hi everybody.
It's good to see you. Are you an autism parent? Tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm autistic myself, and
wonderful.
My son is on the spectrum, and
Whole autism
my daughter.
family. Love it.
Yeah, my son is 7, and my daughter, she is coming up on 14. She's coming up on 14 months, and I already see a lot of markers in her. But my issue I'm having is they like to gaslight mothers who have children, girls on the spectrum. They like to gaslight females on the spectrum.
Yeah.
because a lot of females present differently. So, for example, a lot of the boys I see, they have a lot of the same mannerisms. The no eye contact. They look for things like lining things up or stacking. They look for all the. But the testing was designed for males anyway.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm having a struggle with my daughter because she makes intermittent eye contact. She engages.
She's 14 months.
Yeah, she doesn't stack and line things. So I feel like I've only had one person be supportive, which is her feeding therapist who recommended the testing.
Yeah.
I think they're missing so much. And the problem is I was not diagnosed until I was after 30.
Yeah.
The only reason why I finally got help was because my son was diagnosed. And then they're like, wait a minute.
I see this all the time, and I think a lot of it, I mean, there is some research to say that girls tend to mask symptoms earlier than boys. And so it can look a little different. I will say too, though, that no one is going to be fighting for your kid and to get answers like the parent will. And so you know your gut, and you got to go get her evaluated. Like 14 months is young, and they're technically 14 months is the youngest that the ADOS can evaluate, but most clinicians make you wait till 18 months.
So my son, they had to wait till 18 months, but now I'm in Ohio. Justice. They just changed it. They test from 12 months and up. So her testing is March 20th.
12 months?
Yes, they start at 12 months here.
I wonder what tool they're going to use to do the testing. Really?
And it's only 1 day of testing here, where my son he was supposed to have 3 days, but his markers are so strong, he was diagnosed the first day. We didn't go through the other days of testing, but with her age, 14 months, she's going to get 1 day of testing. But I think the advocacy on...
Oh, you're right. The ADOS toddler module is 12 months, not 14 months. 12 to 30 months.
Yes.
So the toddler module of ADOS, it can technically do 12 to 30 months. I don't know why I was thinking 14. But yeah, most clinicians won't touch it until it's 18 months. And so, I mean, that's good that you found someone that could do it right away. I mean, the earlier, the better. And so do you say you already have it scheduled then?
Well, yeah, it's scheduled for March 20th, and it's at the same place my son got tested with the same people. But here's my thing is, I think like I've had to end a lot of relationships with like family and friends or whoever because they don't understand. Like, oh, you just want her to be diagnosed. No, what I want is for not to have another kid that doesn't get services until 7 or 6. That's what I'm trying to prevent. And being autistic myself, I'm trying to make sure that I have supports in place so that I'm not overwhelmed. But I think what they're missing is like a lot of girls that I've seen that are on the spectrum, they you can mask very early. That's the first thing. You can mask very early.
Yes.
And the second thing is a lot of girls tend to have what they call, she's just super emotional and clingy. No, that's an inability to regulate. Super emotional, like constant screaming, very high elevated as far as like her crying. And then if you guys know this life, you know that the cry of a neurodivergent is not the same sound as a cry of a neurotypical child. The cry is different. It sounds like there's a dolphin in my house. I call my children dolphins because that is what they sound like, and how I explain that to the testing doctors. But I think it's difficult because a lot of parents are gaslit when it comes to diagnosis. My baby is 14 months still on infant formula. She's still on infant formula. She doesn't eat. She already has all the markers of the eating rigidity severely. She eats like 2 or 3 things, and that's it. And she doesn't eat to get full. It's almost as if there's this imaginary baseline that they won't go past. Yeah. Even if they're hungry, it just exists. So it's difficult. I don't want to talk too much, but it's difficult because when you go in a lot of these lives, a lot of families, and this is no shade to anyone, but a lot of families do support things that I don't think should be in the autism field, like what you guys are talking about the detoxes and all that stuff. It's hard to find an environment on here of autism families that understand that there's no cure for autism.
Because there's no money in it. There's no money. There's no motivation for us creators to talk about the boring stuff and the therapies that insurance is going to pay for. It's all it's all the products and the scammy stuff. So I mean that's kind of one of the big reasons why. I mean, props to you for noticing a lot of the symptoms early on, and like you can professionals that look at a 14-month-old are not going to not a lot are going to be able to say whether it's autism or not unless they do the full ADOS. And
Right.
it is very thorough. And so it doesn't take all day. Like it's only, an hour or two of actual observing the child, but it's pretty reliable. And so keep us posted. I hope you come back up here. For those of you that are new here, I go live every day for a couple hours. Usually the last 10 or 15 minutes, we just have a chat. We just bring people up. That's what we're doing right now, is just a little chat. A lot of times the regulars of people that are here, we like to bring up and talk. But the other 2 hours, we ask questions, we answer questions. This is a support group. If we are coming to the end of the live, but if you want continued support, if you need a village, okay, and you want support without people trying to sell you weird stuff, without anything like that, go join our Facebook group or our Discord page. That's where we keep the conversation going after the live. Link is in my bio to go and join those groups. Please come up and join those groups. And go ahead, Amy.
Add something on that front.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of us see ads, especially with tailored things like TikTok and Instagram. I know we all see the Joy Spring products. I know we all see the detox stuff. Please, you guys, please do not start giving your kids supplements without taking those to your pediatrician, making sure that they are okay with your kids, because we have kiddos that are ending up in hospitals because of these Joy Spring products. Because when you cleanse a body of all the metals like that, you must replace those metals with other supplements, meaning that they need to be on a different supplement to replace the stuff that you're depleting from your body. On top of that, they must be consistently and constantly drinking water. Otherwise, they will get dehydrated. They will end up in the hospital. You will end up with a million bills. Please, you guys, please do not get suckered into some of these things. I know it sounds like it's nothing. I know it sounds like it's, just a couple drops in the morning and my kid will be normal. No, that's not what we're dealing with here. These kids are highly sensitive and their stomachs are highly sensitive. Their bodies are highly overtuned to what's going on. Please do not just randomly start giving your kids supplements that you find off TikTok, off Amazon, off Instagram without taking them to your pediatrician first.
Yes.
That's all I had.
Thank you
Can
for
I
sharing.
comment on what she just said really fast before I drop? I just want to say, I think that demographic is heavily marketed at families who are new to diagnosis. Because when I was new to diagnosis, in that realm, you're willing to do anything you can to try to get your baby, quote unquote, normal. And, they spoke in a month. And I think that was the most emotional time, was when I came on here, because that's when I was new to TikTok, is when my son just got diagnosed. And all I saw was them marketing that stuff at me, and if you're new to that and you don't really know this life, you're going to believe, maybe I give them all this stuff and I put them in a clay bath and all that stuff, that they'll end up talking. And because I came on TikTok when they were marketing heavily the bentano, I don't know what that was, some type of clay. You put them in a clay bath or something with some type of salt. That was pushed so heavily when I first came on here. And then it's like all these, it's probably about a good 13 drops and herbs. The only thing I have ever given my son is the Ella Ola. And that's because it's a multivitamin, because, if they have gut health issues, he struggled to have bowel movements. And after so long, it's not good to keep giving that medicine they give you for constipation from the hospital. I can't remember what it's called, but it starts with an M.
Miralax.
Yes, Miralax is not good long term. So I cut Miralax. Ella Ola has been the only vitamin that has got him to have a movement every day.
There are, let me just add on that. There are also, if you guys are having kids that are stopped up and not having regular BMs, there are probiotics that are toddler approved, gentle on their tummies. They've got small amounts of everything versus the adult versions, so that we are not overloading their bodies with stuff like that. We just have to be so careful. I know a lot of this, I think she's right. It does prey on the ability for us to be so desperate for our children to have a chance at neurotypicalness, that they will throw anything and everything your direction. So if you have intentions on getting your kids on these saffron packets, please take it to your pediatrician first. Please make sure that that's something your kid does not have an allergy to, does not have an intolerance to, that you're not giving them something that's too much for their bodies, because you can overload their bodies. You can deplete too much and you can take from them, and then they will unfortunately end up in the hospital, and you will carry that guilt. And that's what I don't want for any mom, is for you guys to carry the guilt. Any dads, for you guys to be carrying guilt of, oh, I gave my kid thinking, that it was going to make it better, and it didn't, and it put him in the hospital. Don't even play that game. Please take things to your pediatrician. Please, 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 you guys.
You don't need to play doctor, like it is not our job to be the expert on everything. And this is why we build a care team. You need a pediatrician who is so good with little kids, so that you can say, hey, like, he's only eating French fries and chicken nuggets. Like, what do you think he needs right now? And she can say, hey, look, he's having bowel movements every day. His growth is on track. I don't recommend you do anything. And many will say, I don't even recommend a multivitamin. But they can also look and be like, hey, look, the growth is struggling a bit. This is what I recommend. You don't have, bring your concerns to your doctor. Don't try to fill your kid with all these products and supplements yourself. Don't play doctor. Don't try to have all the answers. It's the same as behavior stuff. Get your behavior analysts involved. And, if you're having a kid with a lot of tantrum, don't, go follow someone on TikTok that gives you advice like me and just trust everything I say. Go talk to this professional that knows your kid and get the specific advice for your kid. Now, this advice is boring. This is not the hopeful, quick progress advice that people want to hear. People want a pill that makes their kid normal. And that's not what my channel's about. My channel is more about the parents and the kids. And the problem with trying to be an expert on everything and trying to do everything for your kid is, one, you are going to burn out, and you're going to burn out doing things that aren't even helping your kid. And I am so protective over the time and resources of parents of children with autism. You probably already had to quit your job and not work so that you could be with your kid with disabilities. You probably had to miss out on work opportunities, not work as many hours as you could. Your time and your resources are so precious that everything I talk about on this channel is to protect us as autism parents, to make sure that we can do this for the long haul and do those things that are most beneficial for our kids. So it doesn't make a lot of money. It's not a sexy thing to talk about. This is just, the support that we need. So anyway, guys, we are way past time. I got to go. Do either of you guys have a last thing you want to say to the people?
I'm going to drop down. I really appreciate you guys for having me. So it's nice to find a neutral community that's not selling items.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, my one statement that I always tell all my parents is to stop apologizing. Because I was the parent that would always apologize for my child's severe behavior or, aggression and, just for how he was, because a lot of people didn't understand. And I stopped apologizing, and I just got around a community that I didn't have to apologize. So that's always my thing, is we don't owe anybody an apology just because our kids are different and they don't understand, or they can't sit still, or, they need to stand up and stem on the chair to eat. I don't apologize anymore. So that's just something that I push, is we don't owe an apology. And thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for being up here. Amy, any last thoughts? Anything you want to say? I can't hear you if you're talking. Not sure if you're talking, but that's okay. I'm going to end, but I just want to, oh my goodness. We got an interesting one in here, you guys. Lee Robertson, Randall, we got the real expert on here, you guys. That's the problem. Parents don't have a backbone. We can't train our kids right. That's what Lee's saying about our autistic kids. All right, Lee, you're the expert here. You know this. If we just discipline your kid, everything's going to be okay. You can force them to eat that food. You don't understand disability. You don't understand autism, Lee. I'm going to flat out say that. You don't understand autism. I know kids that you try to do what you're talking about. You do this old school parent training of being like, hey, you eat what I make or you go to bed hungry. And those kids, what they end up doing is they end up starving themselves, being malnourished and needing a G-tube. So you're out of line here. Just you're in the wrong group. This is not the group to be talking like that. The parents here in this group are already dedicating every waking moment to improve the life of their child. And the last thing that we need is judgment from people that come in and say things like this. You're blaming parents instead of supporting children. All right, guys. Sorry we have to end it on some negativity there, but I'll defend us autism parents to the death. So that's what we're here for, you guys. If you are new here, hit me a follow so that you can find me next time we go live, and join the Facebook group in my bio, join the Discord in my bio. We have good conversations there. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. You guys have a good one.